with you.
Hello.
Morning, everybody. How are you? You all right?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Good. I am not, and I'll tell you why. Who knows how I like my coffee? Tell me now. You know me so well. Coffee moan. No, don't start spraying that. No, you don't want to spray that in your mouth. Well, I'll answer the question. You know I like it with lots of milk. Hot milk.
What are we talking
like
about
in
now?
France.
What are you
My
talking
coffee,
about?
my café.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else.
And that's all the milk that we had. You like yours strong and dark and black with no milk.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
I like mine just with,
How do you like yours, guys? What are we talking about?
just coffee, because it's coffee moaning. And we want to say, good morning, moaners. We've got lots to chat about
I thought we were
today.
talking about men.
I'm just going to get some maple syrup.
Oh, maple syrup. Who is Mabel? Morning, everyone. Morning, Lee Durrant. Morning, Ellery Jones. I'm doing a live with Lee Durrant tonight at 6:30, revised time due to... oh, my God. Does anyone know we're doing a Curly Cooks Tonight live? I didn't.
Got to tell everybody.
I was unaware of this, which is why... hang on, which is why me and Lee Durrant completely clashed diaries. So
if you let me finish. We
No,
did
I
say
don't
it
want
on
to let you
Saturday,
finish.
but you
I
were
won't let you
busy
finish.
filming. You were busy filming. But listen, guys, thank you for all the people that sent in recipes and the stories that went alongside them from your loved ones. We're going to be making some of them tonight, but actually I want to make all of them because
Well, you
all the
can't.
stories... No, so
Oh, she's got what I've got.
we'll be doing more of them. So if your recipe and story isn't in tonight's one, it will be in the next one or the next one or the next one. And please keep sending them in. So a story about the person. Oh, some of them are just like so heartwarming, just so lovely.
How are we going to do this? So we're going to have them printed out, presumably, so we can read the stories, because presumably the stories are...
Yes, please, if you can
more
get the
interesting
printer
than
done.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So we'll read your little story out. No, the recipes are good as well. There's some, I'm doing a very strange recipe that I've never... A couple of very strange recipes today that I've never...
I wasn't saying the recipes weren't good. I'm just saying that for that emotional warmth, running through the exact ingredients of like tablespoons and that isn't going to be the bit that kind of gets people going, oh, is it?
Oh, please just get on. You're just like...
Oh, babe, you are so annoying.
Obviously, when did anyone in a cookery program read out the ingredients?
Well, never you and Dina, that's for sure. You've never, ever given us the list of ingredients ever in your life. How will we know? Is it a surprise, says Joni?
It's a surprise.
What is?
Whether your recipe is coming out. Mark, please do, because we haven't got time today. You've got to concentrate. I don't want to repeat everything I'm saying to them, to you. Joni, it will be a surprise whose recipes are on this episode and every episode. I want to do as many of them as I can because I love the stories and the emotion attached to the recipes, and they just really feel good. So the whole show is family recipes today, but what we might do in other shows is every show have one or two family recipes with your stories attached.
Ruth Blandford, good morning. I'm really happy, Nadia. I started HRT yesterday. Yeah.
Good luck. Remember, there is a period of adjustment. Don't expect everything to be amazing straight off.
Toffs.
Well, she not got her thing on.
No, can you sort that out? Can see fun times ahead, says Gribbleton. I can't. I can see they're just on this seat here, I think. I'm all right, Zoe. Just, it's all a bit it's a bit upside down and topsy-turvy today. Topsy-turvy. That's a good old phrase, isn't it? Wasn't there a topsy-turvy Mr. Man? Was it Mr. Topsy-turvy? I'm pretty certain there was. We've got a few little things to play in later. We are going to be talking about David Walliams is suing Britain's Got Talent producers Fremantle. I don't know if this is an entirely sensible thing that he's doing. Discuss. What are our feelings on Mr. David Walliams? Okay, so this is the story that he's suing the company behind Britain's Got Talent. I don't know if you remember, there was a hot mic moment where he was heard stating and saying derogatory things. He called a pensioner a CUNT. He said that another woman was like the slightly boring girl you meet in the pub and you think you want to F them, but you don't.
He reminded me of what he said.
Not only is he reminded, and a lot of people have said this is very, very misguided. This is a very misguided move to sue. And obviously the Sun has drawn some scintillating kind of conclusions from this. They've run a headline that says this, which I think is quite perceptive of them. Simon Cowell and Simon Cowell and David Walliams' friendship on the rocks after, in inverted commas, after former show star sues Britain's Got Talent. I think that's an assumption. We don't know that for sure, as someone says. But I do think that this is... I don't know if this is in the current climate. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if this is an entirely sensible move by David Walliams, because as you rightly say, Nance, what it does is it kicks the story back up.
I had forgotten what he'd said.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So this is, let me just explain quickly. The reason he's suing is he's alleging obviously a data breach. A data breach. You know, someone's leaked this material. And so what that says to me is he really doesn't mind as much about what's been said as the fact that it's been revealed. So what does it make of his apology?
But I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, as a TV presenter, as somebody that has a microphone on every day, I am astonished by how everybody in the business will say things and just put their hand over the mic and just go, and you're just like, no, you can still. I do think things can be massively taken out of context. I do think you can say things that are very dark humour that you might say to, a colleague or somebody you've worked with for years. And a bit like, in the medical world, if doctors were mic'd, some of the things that they would say would just be, because I worked on a hospital show, and some of the things, honestly, that doctors and nurses say are just so shocking, but they come from like a dark humour and da-da-da. Yeah, I don't actually think that with this David Walliams thing at all. And what he's done is reminded me of how fucking horrible what he said was. But you are told categorically that you are never alone with a microphone, that everything that you say, you have to be aware of. So I'll be really interested to see whether he actually has a case here, or maybe he's got incredibly clever lawyers that actually, I mean, they must think that they can win this. There must be something in data protection that will protect him for this. But I feel sorry for the company, because it won't have been the company per se.
Well, there'll have been a whistleblower of some sort who kind of leaked the footage.
Yeah, a sound person, I don't know, somebody from the crew, I don't know, or somebody that maybe he's upset.
Elaine Denning makes an important point. I mean, I think, I'm not saying this is what you were saying, but it ended up sounding a little bit like only people who are on hot mics say things, like whether it be surgeons or if you're filming or, in every walk of life, everyone says something in a sort of private setting. You have your own chat rooms, WhatsApp chat rooms, you have your own conversations. I mean, there's stuff that you would talk about between each other. I suppose, again, it's a little bit, it nibbles at the edges of the Russell Brand thing. There's a lot of upset, and any of our lives where we kind of even potentially say there's an alleged victim, there's a lot of people saying he's been judged, he's been found guilty, what's happened to innocent till proven guilty. We've long said we have to both respect the alleged victimhood of people, but and also the law of the land. We also respect the fact that, you're absolutely right, Russell Brand hasn't as yet been charged with anything. And in this instance, he said what he said. But like you rightly say, is the debate about whether we should all absolutely, in a sort of democratic state, freedom of speech, etc., have the freedom to say whatever we want in our own private. Now, the reason I think this gets complicated
is the professionalism. This isn't your own private home.
And also, can I just finally say, and then you can jump in. I also think he was saying it in a room in front of an audience. This was a public space with members of the public there too. So I don't actually think it is the same.
It's not the same at all, because if, like sometimes when we've been like chatting too much, like in Loose Women in the breaks and stuff, and, we have a great relationship, all the crew and the producer or the director might say, come on guys, professionalism. And they're right. We should always be told off when we are chatting too much on those mics, because actually it is our responsibility professionally to always be aware that whatever you say is the audience. And we all fuck up all the time. I mean, just constantly, because you're wearing it so much and you forget and you chat.
I think you have an increased burden of responsibility when you are someone in the public eye and you're engaging with and interacting with the public. I think it's the same I've seen many situations. In fact, I've had to enact, I don't know if you remember this, I had to enact a really harsh decision on an employee's contract in the past when they mistakenly sent an email to a contributor about something, and that contributor came back to me hurt and upset because in that email that had been sent to them, there was an issue that had been, a description had been used. It was unforgivable. It was reprehensible. And the person involved was an incredibly strong employee. And I had to let them go off the back of that. And so it's not just people in the public realm, with a public profile on hot mics. This is about people with any public-facing kind of responsibility.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge, huge responsibility. I mean, obviously, we're not going into it in much detail, but I mean, the Lawrence Fox thing. I mean, that was in cold daylight. I mean, my God, if you again, that sort of phrase, if you're saying this in public, what the hell are you saying
in
privately?
my opinion, I just don't think he's very well.
No, he's not.
I genuinely don't think he's very well.
No, he really isn't.
I mean, yeah.
No, that whole story. So, Catherine Cronin, honestly, history will not be kind to Walliams. I think the crew had enough. Interesting point.
You're never alone with a microphone.
Here we go. Teresa Hutchinson, he had his mic on whilst filming Britain's Got Talent. When he went to the loo, slagging off contestants for getting the mic was still on, and everyone heard what he was saying. I mean, it's you've got a microphone. You're working in a public space.
Was he in the loo? Because the microphone's supposed to be turned off when you go to the loo.
Well, I've heard so many things in toilets. My God, yeah, not pleasant either. Okay, so that's David Walliams. Elton John is also in the news today. He quite rightfully so. Him and his partner and other celebrities and charities. Sorry, I've got such a sore throat and runny nose. Elton John are absolutely up in arms about the Sawalha Braverman speech yesterday.
Quite bloody right.
As he says, legitimizing hate and violence against gay people, even stating a caveat like she did, sends out an appalling signal, I think, to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
don't you think?
Absolutely, 100%.
So, they've led calls. Him and his partner released a statement via their AIDS Foundation calling for more compassion, support and acceptance for those seeking a safer future. We are very concerned about the UK Home Secretary's comments stating how discrimination for being gay or a woman should not be reason enough to qualify for protection under international law.
We raged about this yesterday, didn't we, guys?
But I was surprised by a poll that we popped up. I think the poll that we popped up yesterday, the results were, I was quite surprised by this. Let me just find it because, look, persecution for being gay or a woman is not sufficient reason to seek asylum. And I asked, do you agree? 37% said they did.
Of how many people that voted?
Let's have a look. Of 500 votes.
I do think sometimes, Mark, though, I think that it's easy to forget just how, we are, just forget just how dangerous it can be in so many countries to be gay. And I think people might just click on that with not really, really knowing.
No, I agree.
What goes on?
Someone said under our live yesterday, look, they don't mention the fact that in countries like Morocco, still you can be killed. I think homosexuality is considered something incredibly, incredibly reprehensible in so many countries.
In so many countries, and sanctioned. You're sanctioned to be violent against somebody that you think is gay.
I'd have thought surely isn't the bar that you have to reach is proof of persecution.
Yes.
Because you can't start having gradations of what's right persecution and what's wrong persecution.
Yeah. So if you've been dragged into prison and tortured because you're gay, and you've been grabbed and dragged into prison and tortured because you're a journalist,
you can't have a hierarchy.
Would you say the journalist can come in, but the gay person can't?
It goes back to my idea of deserving poor and undeserving poor. And I don't want to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. I love that phrase because when you think of a cat landing in the pigeons, it's just bedlam, isn't it? And I am going to go off just on a tangent briefly and then come directly back.
Just looking for something at the same
I think we have to be really careful about the assumptions we make about places, countries, and people. This story really captured my attention. The Speaker of the House in Canada has quit because they were giving a standing ovation to a war veteran who they have very quickly and easily since discovered he was actually very high up in a Ukrainian garrison that actually supported and worked with the Ukrainian First Division that basically worked alongside the Nazis. something that, and so the Speaker of the House has had to resign because he sort of didn't realise that actually they were kind of applauding a Holocaust Nazi war criminal, essentially. And my point about this being that, going back to the deserving and undeserving sort of asylum seekers and what have you, and we felt very much that there was a sort of a priority given to everyone from Ukraine, and everything that's happening to the Ukrainian people is absolutely unforgivable. Putin's argument that it's the denazification of Ukraine is a fallacy and a falsehood when he's enacting exactly the same kind of horrendous kind of human rights offences against all sorts of people. But things can be more than one thing, and Ukraine does have a Nazi far-right white supremacist problem. And so I just think, it's important to say that when we sort of say that's a deserving kind of person who comes over, or that's a deserving country for all of our support and everything like that, things are often just, things often aren't as black and white as we like to think. So it's just, I just find it so, for example, I was absolutely shocked to find out that in Ukraine, after World War II, Ukraine had I think they had the one incident of the second, it was the highest slaughter of Jews happened in Ukraine during World War II, outside of Germany. I think there was something like 150,000 slaughtered in Ukraine. So, I suppose, why am I conflating these two things? It's just really important that, anti-Semitism, homophobia can exist in all these countries. And whereas we might say, just a blanket yes to everyone from Ukraine, you must come, you are deservingly persecuted. Actually, it doesn't work like that. We're very simplistic in the way in which we kind of assign justified persecution. So there we go. Anyway, just wanted to share that story. But yeah, so
sorry, the only reason I wasn't involved, Mark read that, I hadn't read that story, so and also I just needed to find a couple of things for the next.
What we're
I'm going to go off and read into that. It's really interesting, Mark.
Yeah,
I didn't know any of that.
No, it's massive, and it's a massive story. And if you actually, I don't want to. This is not Ukraine bashing, but this is
not the individuals.
Not at all. No, not at all. But really, I personally think we could be in real danger of inadvertently militarizing and massively equipping aspects of a Ukrainian resistance force that have deeply, deeply worrying religious and cultural beliefs. And I think sometimes in the West, none of us want to understand that some problems have many facets to them. Remember the old phrase, we can't deal with more than one thing because we're dealing with this. Well, we have to. And we have to think about all these things in more sort of nuanced ways. So I think, again, Sawalha Braverman coming out going, being persecuted. I think the bar for kind of asylum has to be persecution, not
exactly
how.
Yeah.
Madness. Anyway, so one of the other things we wanted to talk about was was your post yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if
Nadia's call out mum. Well, I called it rant, which makes it sound irrational, but it wasn't. Sorry.
So you're gonna?
Do you want me to play it?
Play it, and then I don't have to. Women, if you are out and about and you see this face, me, and you are being sexually harassed in whatever way, shout out, "Hey, Mum," and I will know that you need some help, and I will intervene in whatever way that I can. I promise you that. And also, older women, if you are being harassed, just say to me, "Hey, Nads," and I will take that as a signal that you are in trouble, and I will come over and pretend that we're friends and distract, hopefully, from something that is really uncomfortable, awkward, frightening for you. This isn't my idea. I saw this on Natasha Devon's Instagram, and she had seen it, heard Kath Bum on her podcast talking about this. Again, it's women trying to sort out this shit, but if you feel the same way, if you feel you could do this, make a video, let's share this, let's get this going right across the internet, not internet. Hey, Mum.
It's a great idea. It
is a great idea. And I was just looking for a message that was left under my Instagram yesterday. I can't remember. Couldn't find it. But this woman reminded me of when we were young. Our mums used to say to us, "If you're worried, look for a middle-aged woman. Look for a middle-aged woman."
Wow.
And now, I wouldn't necessarily say that now for young children.
Yeah.
Because of just the way the world is and the possibility and nobody's safe. But I thought, oh yeah, that because I think that's what Natasha Devon said in her piece underneath the Instagram. Can middle-aged, what could middle-aged women do to support these younger women? And actually, I would take it on even further. Women supporting women. I mean, our eldest has done this a couple of times when she's been out and about and she's seen that a girl is worried. She's actually just said, "Oh, hi," and pretended that she's their friend.
Yeah.
God love her. She's just done this. She's the biggest heart, that child. Yeah, so it was. I just really, I loved reading so many of the responses yesterday, and it was interesting because Mark and I, when we were talking about doing this, you know, inspired by Natasha and Cathbun, we were saying we automatically said, because any like normal person would think this, we said, oh God, and there could be like a hey dad, and then straight after we'd said it, we went, oh God, yeah, but then.
Well, Natasha Devon, I've got her comment here under me. I said something along the lines, I shared with you guys how I went chasing down a van, didn't I, recently after a run because they were harassing a young woman, and I screamed out, "Hey, that's my daughter, leave her alone." And she sort of ran away, and they paused and then they stopped, and then I don't know whether the connection was made that, oh my God, if this, because what I think happens for men is if they think there's that sort of filial or kind of familial bond with the child, that a father is going to go to the next level of protection of irrationality. Do you know what I mean? I think they probably paused and then they probably thought, oh God, if he is her dad, he'll go to any lengths to protect her. And that's possibly why. And that's my thinking behind it, why it would be effective. But when I sort of shared that story and said, you know, this is what I wish we could do the same, Natasha Devon made a very good point. She said, the problem is, whilst I know for a fact there are tons of decent guys out there who would do this in a flash, how in that moment does one distinguish between them and the sort of man who is the perpetrator of the harassment?
But then I was thinking, and we didn't have time to talk about this last night, I thought there's a lot of young boys, like sometimes when I'm going along the car and I might see it at a bus stop and I can see a young boy or see a boy looking very intimidated by the others around them. And I was thinking, I wonder if there could be like a hey dad or a hey something for young men that are feeling intimidated to other men. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean.
And I was thinking, I wonder if that would be a good way for men to be involved. Because I do think it's tricky if a girl is saying, hey, dad. It is tricky.
Oh, it really is.
But it's a shame, isn't it? Because I think I answered back to Natasha Devon and said, God, isn't it fucking so frustrating?
Grace Martin says, isn't it sad that men have to think twice?
Yeah, because we were straight away instinctively, oh, yeah, you could do, hey, dad. Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah. But some of these, I got some great messages under my Instagram. I like this one. We did this in Ibiza for a young woman who was being harassed. I took her back to a hotel and saw her right to reception. My husband gave the guy a telling off he'd never forget.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I mean, that's working, in pairs. I also got this. I also saw this on Natasha Devon's page, and I'm glad to see it's having a snowball effect. I work at the NSPCC, and we're working to educate young people on this issue, which I think is great. That I mean, it would be great if the NSPCC. Do you know what's funny though, guys? So yesterday, when I was thinking of doing this video, I was really inspired by Natasha Devon, and I really felt like, oh God, this is just meaningful. And then I stopped, and for an hour, I was going, oh God, right, okay. So people are going to say, well, this, and then people are going to say, well, you know, you're putting people in danger, and you're doing. And then you know what? I got to the point where I thought, fuck it, just fuck it. It's just like we are so frozen by so many possibilities of what could go wrong. You know, hey, mum, you know, just like.
Well, I mean, in a very small way, it's about taking control into your own hands, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I'm sick of feeling powerless.
Yeah, you've got to.
And the thought that somebody else might do that, because it takes a village. You know, if you think that I might just happen to be there when your daughter feels like that, or when, and it doesn't have to be a famous face. It can be like, do you remember the Angela? Do you remember the Angela thing that people were doing in the bars? Why can't that just be something that women do?
This is a great idea. Look at this, Nanny Bluebell. I have safe shops in town that my grandchildren can go to in town that they go to if they need. I've spoken to the owners. It's quite
Wow.
good. Safe shops. That's a nice idea.
Oh
Safe
my
shops
God.
is a good idea.
That is, wow.
Just want to share this. Joni, my sister, was harassed outside a local Asda. Not one passerby helped. She filmed the man and calling her names, and the police did nothing.
Not one person helped.
Wow.
You see, the thing is, it's not about running in and like screaming.
So this needs to be a campaign on the tube.
It does. It does. I might ring up. What's his name?
Sadiq.
Yeah.
Give him a bell. It's a good idea.
I'm going to give Sadiq a bell.
Yeah, because, and also the other really counterintuitive thing that's really good about it. I'm not saying
I don't know Sadiq, by the way, and I haven't got his number.
I'm not saying it's only middle-aged women that could do it, but I like the idea that the saviour comes in the form of, because of the mum aspect, necessarily almost a middle-aged woman.
Well, no, yeah, exactly.
That's the cloud cover.
And what I was just saying before that was that it's not about stepping in and like having a fight. It's about like, oh, come on, love. You know, it's about, like, years ago, I used to be the bouncer. I mean, years ago when I was 18 at the Piccadilly Theatre. And the reason I was the bouncer was because the way that I got people out at the end of the night was like, come on, don't be silly, you know, and at the gate, because David Essex was on then, and the girls were like storming the fence. And I used to go out to the stage door. I was employed to do this and just like chat with the girls and get them all calm before David Essex came out.
Wow, calm down.
And that was when I was like, I was so young, can't believe it. But I was always quite mumsy, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah.
Good. Well, I think that's it. I think it should be a campaign. Okay, I'm going to pop up an image now. It's an optical illusion, and you have to say what the first thing is you see when you see it.
Oh, okay.
You've got one of two very clear options as to what you will see when I flash this image up. But when I flash it up, just write. Obviously, there's going to be a delay. Write and say literally as I flash it now. Say the first thing you see now.
A cat.
Right. Okay. There you go.
What do you see, guys?
What do you see, guys?
So obviously I've disappointed you.
No, you haven't disappointed me. I just think this is an absolutely fucking ludicrous story.
Oh.
No, optical illusion reveals whether you are indecisive under pressure or maintain cool, calm composure in the face of conflict. Basically, it says something along the lines of, if you see the island first, she said, if you saw the island first, you're a perceptive and outgoing person.
Well, this is what I saw.
Because you hate being
I
alone.
saw a cat made out of the image of an island. I didn't see two separate. I didn't think, oh, that's just a cat. I thought it's a cat shape out of an island.
Lee says he saw an island. I don't believe anyone will not see the cat first.
Yeah, but we're seeing the cat within an island.
Yeah, but they're saying maybe you see an island first. I think this is nonsense.
Well, have we got time to play the bear clip?
Yeah.
On keeping cool, calm and collected.
Yeah.
Don't know if any of you have seen this on the internet, but have a look at this. Just watch. It goes on and on. The poor boy is absolutely frozen with fear. It reminds me of when the girls were scared and I just used to do that. Can you imagine? That woman is just breathing through total terror. Look at her.
You've got to always imagine with a bear that they're like giant squirrels.
And that boy, watch in a second, the bear sniffs over at the boy, and watch how the boy just goes deeper into his mum or his aunt or whoever she is. Look, she doesn't. She just very slightly, makes me cry, just the protection.
No.
She just very slightly moves back. Oh my God. But the person filming this.
That's astonishing, someone filming it, yeah.
I mean, that is the last question that you have is like, why aren't you on the phone to the police? I mean, maybe they had. But the calmness of the person filming it.
But it's very good. I think they must know how to be around bears. Because, I mean, I filmed in America with lots of different bears. And in Yosemite, we filmed a car that had left its windows open. And it's like, they're like critters. They're like squirrels. It's like, and a bear had got into the car and was sat in the passenger seat just going through the picnic like that. I mean,
and what were the people? Were the people in the car?
The people were away from the car, but they just let it happen. You just have to let them happen. They're like giant squirrels. They're giant squirrels. So
the thing is, you don't move a muscle.
Well, with different bears, you do different things.
Because you got caught by a bear.
Well, I've been in a cage with a grizzly. We've caught grizzlies. We've filmed with American brown bears, and obviously nearly got killed by a polar bear. So yeah, I can't have some beef with bears. I think they're fantastic animals, but they are interestingly, it's their claws that will, certainly with grizzlies, will take your face off in one swipe. I mean, that's how they kind of, open up their food and stuff. But yeah, I mean, when you travel around all these American parks as well, you travel with a backpack and a bear box. You have they're like little round boxes. And we came out one morning, me and Neil, and it literally, we'd heard all night the bear play football with it, trying to get it open. It taken out the tree, it chucked it around. You're like, fucking hell, what's it doing with the bear? With the bear box?
Joni, we need that woman patrolling the streets of London.
That's a very good
She's the
point.
hey mum, isn't she?
Okay.
Do you remember the Guardian Angels years
Yes.
ago on the tube? I loved them so much, so much. They were so calm, and they were just a presence of like peace.
I've got
what happened to them.
I've got an and finally, because yours was threaded with fear.
Mine wasn't really an and finally.
No, because it was threaded with fear. But this is definitely an and finally.
Oh.
Just watch.
Oh, the innocence, the sweetness. Oh my God.
His hand.
Oh, it's really making me fancy cabbage. I love cabbage. Oh, that's so sweet.
So watching a beaver lowers stress, eating cabbage lowers stress by 17%. So there you go.
Stroking dogs' ears do as well.
Yeah.
Stroking Chi-Chi's inside of her ear last night watching telly. It's so soft.
I find wearing your knickers does exactly the same for me.
And the thing is about Chi-Chi, she does this amazing thing where she just keeps nuzzling her head into you.
She's a nuzzler. She's such a nuzzler. All right, guys. Well, that's your lot. So we'll see you tonight for the Curly Cooks.
Oh, please don't forget. What time?
And 6:30, me and Lee will be doing a mental health chat on Instagram, and at 7 o'clock.
Well, 7:10.
10.
Let's make it 7:15 because you can't go straight. We'll need to do preps and stuff. So 7:15, the Curly Cooks of Croydon are live, and it's going to be a goodie. So please join us.
So we're now going to wave so that we don't have to cut off.